In case you haven't heard, things keep getting worse for Bud Light and its parent company.
The following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
In April, Bud Light teamed with social media influencer Dylan Mulvaney to celebrate the first year of Mulvaney's transition. The act backfired immediately, angering consumers and hurting sales in record time. After the company value dropped by billions of dollars in just a few short days, supporters of the decision claimed that the losses would stop. They haven't. Initially, those who supported this business decision downplayed the backlash and claimed that consumers will just go support another In-Bev brand. Data shows that's not the case. The backlash over Bud Light's partnership with the transgender influencer appears to be impacting the sales of its other beer brands in the US, the latest industry statistics show. News that sales of Budweiser had fallen more than 11% at the end of April follow recent data that shows the sales of Bud Light had declined drastically amid calls for a boycott after it sent Dylan Mulvaney a commemorative can to mark the first year of transitioning to a woman. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light's parent company, has been accused of alienating its traditional customer base with the partnership, while some LGBTQ+ campaigners have also criticized the company for not defending its ties with Mulvaney. While the company's global CEO Michelle Dorcas said on May 4th that declining Bud Light sales represent about 1% of Anheuser-Busch's global volume, the latest figures suggest the impact of the controversy could soon represent a larger hit. Data provided to Newsweek by Bump Williams Consulting and conducted with Nielsen IQ shows that Bud Light sales revenue fell 23.4% in the week ending on April 29th compared to the same time a year ago. Sales volume fell 27.3% that week, following a drop in sales volume of 21% the weeks prior. In the 4 weeks up to April 29th, which cover the first month of the controversy, the beer brand saw an overall decline in sales revenue of 17.2%, off a 21.4% drop in volume. At the same time, rival Coors Light and Miller Lite saw revenue gains of 17.3% and 19.1% respectively. Bud Light saw a 17% decline in sales revenue earlier in April and a 26% fall-off in premises sales, those taking places outside hospitality venues such as bars and restaurants in the week ending in April 22nd. However, declining sales are not limited to just one Anheuser-Busch label anymore. Budweiser in particular saw a hit of 11.4%, while another beer, Michelob Ultra, saw a 4.4% decline. Busch Light sales also dropped 1.8% in the period, and Natural Light fell 5.2%. All had seen a fall in numbers of cases sold, with Budweiser losing 13% of the volume compared to the same week in 2022. Dave Williams, Vice President for Analytical and Insight at Bump Williams Consulting, noted that the decline for the Bud family of beers continues to accelerate. Anheuser-Busch's overall portfolio in the year to date was in most cases either on par or outpacing competition. Williams told Newsweek that the narrative has completely flipped over the last couple of weeks, as trends soften while competition heats up, which rightfully raises questions about the potential long-term implications should these trends continue throughout the summer selling season. Brand Finance, which quantifies the financial value of brands and provides an annual ranking, previously told Newsweek it was uncertain whether the controversy would have a lasting impact on the beer brand. In its beer ranking for 2022, Bud Light placed fourth, behind Budweiser in third. However, referring to recent decline in sales, Lawrence Newell, Brand Finance Managing Director for the Americas, said, "If this trend continues, analysts may need to reconsider their forecasts." Anheuser-Busch senior management has pledged to increase its investment in Bud Light in the US, and financial analysts have pointed to the global reach to argue that the beer brand represents a drop in the bucket when it comes to the brewery's revenue. The US sales of Bud Light and other In-Bev brands are seeing a continual decline that shows little signs of stopping, as those on either side of the political aisle are coming for Bud Light, pitchforks in hand. The Mulvaney incident has shown that catering to an audience that doesn't want your product alienates those who do. While the article discusses sales in the US decreasing, some new interesting data shows exactly where it's hurting the most. New figures reveal that Bud Light sales have plummeted in every single US region in the wake of their disastrous partnership with Dylan Mulvaney. America's flagship beer brand has been sent into a steep decline after they used a controversial trans influencer to promote the beverage. Data from Beer Business Daily showed that the US's number one brand has fallen in every region in the country. Sales in the Rocky Mountains dipped the most significantly, down by 29%, with the South Atlantic, West North Central, and East South Central all dropping 25%. The Tumbleweed, a cowboy bar in Wyoming in the Rocky Mountains region, ditched Bud Light after the controversy, instead plumping for Guinness. Locals in Marietta, Georgia told the Daily Mail that they were switching from their usual drink of Bud Light to Coors Light, according to bartenders, who says the impact was immediate. A chain restaurant in the Sunshine State also ditched Bud Light from their menus. Joe Penovich, the owner of Grills Restaurant, confirmed that the 2-decade-old establishment would no longer be serving the popular beverage. Sales in the East North Central were down 23.5%, with areas including Michigan and Illinois, which have both seen the backlash against the beer. Gay bars in Chicago have also pledged to stop selling the beer, calling the comments of the global CEO of Bud Light's parent company Anheuser-Busch cruel and hateful. Bear's Tavern Group, which also has locations in the city, denounced Anheuser-Busch after the company abandoned its support of Mulvaney. They will also be discontinuing other Anheuser-Busch brands, including Busch Light and Goose Island 312. West South Central, which includes Texas, saw sales drop by 22% across the entire region. Sales were down 18% in the Pacific region and 19% in the Mid-Atlantic. New England dollar sales were the least affected but still dropped 14%. Footage showed a Bud Light bar at a Boston Red Sox game in Fenway Park completely deserted, indicating fans were participating in the boycott. It's unclear if the denouncement of the beer by famous faces had badly impacted the sales, but bartenders in Georgia told the Daily Mail the impact was immediate following the backlash. One worker at the Rusty Barrel said the impact was immediate. People were complaining about the campaign altogether and what it was representing. They have changed up the beer. Instead, they mostly asked for Coors Light, but it's hard to see if they'll stick to it. It comes after reports that sales of Anheuser-Busch products have dropped in the months since the disastrous campaign. Competitors of the Belgian-owned beer giant saw both their volumes rise, with Molson Coors, which produces Coors Light, jumping 6.7%, and Constellation, the company behind Corona, spiking 3.8%. Yuengling took the tumbling sales of Bud Light in stride, raising 14.7%, while Miller Lite had a spike of 12.8%. Coors Light rose 10.9%, and Coors Banquet 20.5%. Year-to-date, Bud Light and Budweiser are the only top 10 beers whose sales have dropped, with declines of 3% and 0.4% respectively. Stocks for Anheuser-Busch dropped around 4% since the partnership with Mulvaney was announced, shaving some $5 billion off its market capitalization. Global CEO of Anheuser-Busch, Michel Durkis, blamed misinformation and disinformation that was spread online, making people believe cans with Mulvaney's face were being rolled out across the U.S. He addressed the mass backlash over working with the trans influencer, Mulvaney, for the first time in an earnings call with investors last week. He added that the company is providing direct financial support to the frontline workers impacted by the boycott. The global CEO added, "We never intended to make it for general production and sale for the public. It was one post. It was not an advertisement." Investors were also told by Durkis that Bud Light will triple its marketing spend this summer in a bid to woo customers back to the tarnished brand. Durkis said, "We need to clarify the fact. We will continue to learn, meet the moment in time, all be stronger, and work tirelessly to do what is best, bring people together over a beer and creating a future of more cheers." Durkis' comments came as a letter was sent to retailers, bars, and restaurants by Grey Eagle, which distributes Anheuser-Busch products around St. Louis. It read, "Anheuser-Busch did not intend to create controversy or make a political statement." In reality, the Bud Light can posted by social media influencer that sparked all the conversation was provided by an outside agency without Anheuser-Busch management awareness or approval. Since that time, a lack of oversight and control over marketing decisions has been addressed and a new VP of Bud Light marketing has been announced. Their sudden departure appears premature in light of the recent comments, which also claims there was no management awareness of the now infamous campaign. The specifics of how the can fiasco erupted remain under wraps. The latest letter claims that Mulvaney's can was a brainchild of an outside agency. The disastrous marketing bid has seen sales for the American flagship beer plummet, despite Anheuser-Busch reporting first quarter earnings of $1.6 billion. It's unclear if the boycott had any impact on these figures, whether a larger impact of the firm's finances will be visible for the second quarter of the financial year, if the controversy and boycotts rumble on. This will go down as one of the worst marketing decisions in history because instead of increasing value, it's decreasing it. The politicization of Bud Light has turned off everyone. Consumers feel betrayed, activists feel let down, and sadly, feeling is one of the most important parts of all of this. Rosewood Marketing, a Pennsylvania firm, has marketing insight that Bud Light should have considered. What is the key to engaging customers in a way that causes them to open their wallets to you instead of your competitors? Well, it has a lot to do with how you make them feel, and those feelings are based on their experiences with your business. Those experiences include simple interactions such as talking with a serviceman or salesperson, noticing your sign as they drive past your shop or store, browsing your website, or looking over an advertisement. How do we give prospective customers an experience that feels good? How do you think you want to make them feel? If you're not sure how to take the customer's point of view, start with the golden rule. How would you want the business to relate to me if I were the customer of my business? By stepping in the mire of politics, Bud Light made their customers feel angry, but instead of asking what Bud Light themselves did wrong, they took the modern approach and blamed consumers, the right, and hatred. Not once did Anheuser-Busch consider the consumer. It was all political theater in the marketplace, where it doesn't belong. Being progressive in business shouldn't cause your sales to regress. So folks, what do you think of this situation? The numbers don't lie and they continue to spell disaster for Anheuser-Busch. A drop in the bucket? Globally? Sure. But here in America, sales are going down by big double-digit numbers and they continue to drop. So folks, we'll be covering this. We have a video on the first part of this on our channel, so check that out. It's done incredibly well. But like I said before, I went to school for advertising and marketing. I have a degree in that. When I saw this post, they can tell you it's not an advertisement, but if your company puts out anything with their brand on it officially, that is an advertisement. Why do you think they pay so much for celebrities to hold a beer or wear a pair of Nikes or be associated with a product? That's what happened here. Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, In-Bev, whatever you want to call them officially, they decided to go the route with Dylan Mulvaney, and these are the results. Anyone that actually is invested in making money for a business could have seen these results coming from a mile away, because simply put, look at the demographic of Bud Light. Don't look down on them. Look at them, look at the sales increasing, and realize this wasn't going to help. This is after Alyssa Heinrichheid claimed that sales had been up because of her, but as we proved last time, sales were already on the rise before she got involved. The VP was only around since July, and in record time she's caused billions of dollars in sales. And the other man, he stepped down out of embarrassment. As the situation continues to get more interesting, stay tuned to WCBS because we will be following this. Again, we love to talk about marketing and advertising fails. Just look at entertainment, you see it everywhere. And this beer brand Fiasco, and it's nothing new. So folks, we'll be back next time with more, but in the meantime, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other. Thanks for watching today's video. Yes, it's over, but don't cry because there's more, a lot more from World Class Bullshitters. And there's only one way to get it. Hit that subscribe button below. When you do that, you'll get notifications and updates from World Class Bullshitters every time we go live. Basically, you won't miss anything. And if there's one thing I hate, it's FOMO. But the thing most people hate more than FOMO is fear of missing out on World Class Bullshitters, because there's just some things you can't undo. So folks, do yourselves a favor and never miss anything from World Class Bullshitters. One last thing before you go, hit the thumbs up button. Not for our egos, no, they're big enough as this, but it does help us fight the algorithm here, and well, it's man versus machine, and that's the real fight. But if that's not your battle, that's okay. There's one last way you can help WCBS, and that's going over to shopwcbs.com, picking up a t-shirt, a beer glass, a sweatshirt, a poster, all sorts of ways to back WCBS. The difference between us and other YouTube channels is I'm the artist that makes all this stuff, so if you enjoy art beyond t-shirts, you can even read our comic books. We got it all. We're called the epitome of pop culture for a reason, and no, again, it's not for our egos. So folks, make sure you're involved with every aspect of World Class Bullshitters, not just for us, but do it for yourself. We're making the change in entertainment everybody out there wants to see. And a special thank you goes out to all of our wonderful patrons who make this content possible. Go to patreon.com/worldclassbs to get involved and help out the channel.